their relatives, this is what they're going to ask me about, because there are a lot of feelings around these issues.
A huge culture war issue.
I hate that phrase, but yes, that's what the experts call it. Yes, could you tell I was trying not to say it? Because they're just fighting for the.
We'll find
rights,
we'll find a synonym for sure.
Well, it's not you. Other people refer to it, and that is true. But I think that this is something people have a lot of feels about. You go back to Eric Holder, sort of transgender bathrooms, the fight over that. These are the things that people ask me about. Even though I cover all the cases, this is the kind of thing that people are really interested in.
We'll see how states react. Paula Reed, thank you so much. Erica?
Joining us now is Ken Cuccinelli. He's the former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security under President Trump, now a senior fellow at the Center for Renewing America. I know ending birthright citizenship has been a major focus for you since your days in the Virginia State Senate. So first, I'd just like to hear your reaction to the Supreme Court's decision today.
Oh, I was definitely very sad for my country. I think this is a tragic decision, and it leaves us exposed really to the invaders we call illegal aliens from all over the world, every direction, and their predations on this country. And unfortunately, the majority of the Supreme Court looked at the same common law that many of the rest of us looked at, and they came to different conclusions today about what makes an American citizen or not. And it's just being born here was their conclusion, unless you're basically an ambassador, was the focus of the exception on the Chief Justice's part. And that's obviously very sad today. Obviously, the women's rights cases, you all were talking about them as transgender cases. Those are really about protecting women in sports and in bathrooms and everywhere else. Those were wins. But, I would note that I hear a lot on the left, people say this Supreme Court is in this president's pocket, and that's a reason to pack the court, for example. Well, he lost on birthright citizenship, a central case to his agenda today. He lost an election case yesterday. He lost on tariffs earlier in this Supreme Court. So I will say that while there were some good wins in this term, birthright citizenship was a major loss, and President Trump did not run the table here with this Supreme Court. So the rationale, I think, that others are offering on the far left for packing the court is really undone by this loss today and yesterday's in the election case.
So looking specifically at what did happen today, you mentioned Chief Justice Roberts. He noted when it came to birthright citizenship that parents who are unlawfully or temporarily in the country, that those people are still subject to the legal authority and the laws of the United States. And he argued that therefore their U.S.-born children would satisfy the elements of the clause. So I'm curious if you agree if in fact that anyone on U.S. soil, even if they came into the country illegally, is still subject to the legal authority and laws of the country while in the United States.
Yeah, that is certainly true. The only people for whom that might not be true is, again, ambassadors, for example. But everyone is subject to that. But what that does is it makes the second portion of the critical sentence in the 14th Amendment subject to the jurisdiction of. It makes it what's called by lawyers surplusage. It adds nothing to the meaning of the citizenship definition there in the 14th Amendment. And that surplusage has a history that we argued indicates, yes, the jurisdiction you described is one form of it, but there is a different element, political jurisdiction, that involves allegiance. And the Chief Justice talked about allegiance as part of the common law history. And that's certainly true. But what it means is that the family, in this case, at least the mother, it has a legal allegiance to the United States. People who are fugitives here because they are here illegally do not have that allegiance and are not under that political jurisdiction. And in that way, the Chief Justice parted ways with the common law as he saw it. So this is unfortunate. I think that the effort by Senator Paul now to amend the Constitution is going to become very important. But that's a tough road to hoe, as we all know.
So that was my next question for you. It is a tough road to hoe. The president said, of course, we'll work to correct it in Congress, were his words in a Truth Social post. And Speaker Johnson acknowledged that, but that it is a rough road.
I think that the effort by Senator Paul now to amend the Constitution is going to become very important. But that's a tough road to hoe, as we all know.
So that was my next question for you. It is a tough road to hoe. The president said, of course, we'll work to correct it in Congress, were his words in a Truth Social post. And Speaker Johnson acknowledged that, but that it is a rough road ahead. Do you think there is any chance that there is some sort of a constitutional amendment, given how many votes it would require?
So I think something like that would have to come from the states. I think that what the Congress can do is implement the change that Justice Kavanaugh mentioned in his opinion to Section 1401, if memory serves, of the INA, where Congress can accept out those who are illegally present in the United States. But that still wouldn't deal with, for example, birth tourism, which is a full-blown industry in this country, where they invite people in, they get tourist visas, give birth. Their child is an American citizen under this ruling, which is what they're taking advantage of. In California, 42% of the people taking advantage of that are from China, our premier global competitor. I'll put it in friendly terms, on Earth today, and they're taking strategic advantage of the weakness, apparently now, according to the Supreme Court, in our Constitution, not just our laws. And so fixing that is very important for strategic national sovereignty purposes.
I would point out the numbers on birth tourism are not clear at this point, not that there aren't concerns about it, but also important to note when you talk about potentially a constitutional amendment that the American people, in terms of polling, the American people in terms of polling do overwhelmingly support birthright citizenship as it stands now. Ken Cuccinelli, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thank you.
Boy, you are a left-wing hack.
Wow, it's unfortunate that you felt the need to say that. I appreciate you coming on to answer fair questions. Still to come here, remarkable stories of survival are coming out of Venezuela after the earthquakes. We're going to take a look at the timeline of hope for more rescues. Also, this oppressive, dangerous heat for millions. Right as they are preparing to celebrate the 4th of July holiday, a number of areas will be dealing with the hottest weather they have seen in a decade. We'll take a closer look on CNN News Central.
Independency Live with Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. Friday at 8 on CNN and on the CNN app.
I can. You can't spell American without it. At the Ram Make This the Summer sales event, say I can in a Ram truck. I can tow what others won't, power through anything, depend on it for everything, and I can back it all up better.